Resine paints are designed and made right here in New Zealand to endure our unique climate and harsh environment. Quality paints that last. Resine, it's all over New Zealand.
Kei aku nui, kei aku rahi, tēnā rā koutou katoa. I wish you all a warm welcome to the presentation of the 2020 Southern Architecture Awards, proudly brought to you by Te Kāhui Whaihanga New Zealand Institute of Architects. This is the final event in this year's series of local architecture awards, celebrating the best architecture in the regions covered by the Institute of Architects' 8 branches. Normally, these awards are announced at live events attended by architects, clients, builders and consultants, all the people who make architecture happen. But of course, this is not a normal year and we are all having to do things differently. As the whakatauki has it, ka mate kāinga tahi, ka ora kāinga rua. When one house fails, build another. So although the format of tonight's event is different, its purpose remains the same: to recognise the achievements of architects and their clients, promote awareness of New Zealand's architecture, and acknowledge the difference good design can make in our communities. One person who has spent her career making a difference is the president of Te Kāhui Whaihanga New Zealand Institute of Architects, Judy Keith-Brown. Before we turn to the Southern Architecture Awards, Judy has a brief message about the awards, the Institute, and some of the current architectural issues in Aotearoa.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Te Kāhui Whaihanga NZIA Local Awards are all about celebrating the best architecture of the past year. They are also an opportunity to reflect on the past 12 months, especially the last 4, and to look to the future. This has seen our local awards presentations moved into the virtual space, which offers a new opportunity to tell our story to all the people out there watching for the first time. What story will that be? I think one of fresh ideas and hope. Our profession needs to address perceptions of architects as being expensive, remote and unaffordable. We have much to offer, and by working closely with our clients, our problem-solving skills and understanding of working together will help New Zealand create a more prosperous, resilient and sustainable Aotearoa. As architects, we care deeply about our clients and communities and are passionate about our cities, towns and open spaces. We know what it takes to make homes healthy, efficient and comfortable to live in, designed to make the most impressive difference to clients' lives. When our sons were little, The Lorax by Dr. Seuss was a big favourite. Many of you will know this line from that book: "Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better." It's not. So now is our chance. Thank you to everyone who entered the awards this year and to the jury for their time and expertise. And to all the winners, congratulations to your clients and project teams. Finally, thank you Resine, our partner in these awards for 30 years, a New Zealand company supporting New Zealand architecture.
In this very unusual year, the Southern Architecture Awards jury made its visits virtually via online presentations by the architects of shortlisted projects. The Institute of Architects thanks the presenters and the jury for their tolerance of this novel judging process. The jury was led by convener Stacey Farrell from Queenstown and included architects Eliska Lewis from Wanaka and Cameron Pollock from Auckland, and broadcaster Marcus Lush from Invercargill. Stacey Farrell says the awards judging process was a wonderful way to celebrate architecture. It's good to see that the architectural community in the NZIA's Southern branch has come together in a challenging time, and that it continues to produce thoughtful and progressive architecture. Stacey says it was refreshing to see so many projects pushing boundaries and embracing new technologies. Architects, clients and builders are demonstrating that we need to go over and above minimum requirements as we carefully consider the issues of thermal comfort and sustainability. In sum, Stacey says, it is heartening that architecture in her region is in resilient good health. She would like to add her thanks to the award sponsor, Resine, and acknowledge the awards entrants for going that extra mile with video presentations and her hard-working fellow jurors for sticking to their task. While we are celebrating the winners tonight, we want to also recognise all of the projects that were entered into the 2020 Southern Architecture Awards this year, and especially the projects that were shortlisted by the judges. Here are those shortlisted projects. That was a shortlist. Now for the winners of the 2020 Southern Architecture Awards, which will be announced by category. The first awards announced are in the category of Commercial Architecture. The winners are Wanaka Water Sports Facility by Alistair Maddell Architects. A richly textured and contoured facade belies the tough functional requirements demanded by a project in a sensitive environmental zone. There were also significant natural obstacles to contend with, and the project was subject to intense public scrutiny. Care has been taken to ensure the building will, over time, blend into its setting, and the facility is becoming a popular community hub. The building demonstrates the value to the community of architecture that provides valuable social amenity and enhances the life of a town. Calder Apartments by Johnston Architects. The Calder Apartments project stands out in a town of numerous short-term rental accommodation options. On the striking frontages, translucent sheets transmit movement and vitality, adding life to the streetscape. A clever deployment of bold forms on the steep site mean occupants enjoy beautiful, versatile, light-filled spaces, offering both privacy and peaceful views. There are two winners in the hospitality category. These awards go to Aosta by Anna Marie Chin Architects. This project demonstrates how a simple and affordable design, coupled with an ambitious spirit, can deliver a laudable outcome for a business client. A new layout provides visual engagement for the restaurant's patrons and staff, and for passers-by. Even outside opening hours, the restaurant communicates vibrant appeal. The discerning use of lighting effects, mirrors and textural materials in a balanced composition contributes significantly to the success of this project. Tekano Estate Tasting Room by Mason and Wales Architects. An elegantly rendered outcome to a complex brief, This project is testament to the architect's tenacity in resolving numerous issues and insight in recognizing design opportunities. Well-handled details and carefully selected materials allow a seamless integration of the project's structural, environmental, and functional aspects. Container buildings often betray their legacy, but here the architects have overcome constraints to produce a design tour de force that provides the clients with an iconic built form within a stunning landscape. Te Kano Estate Tasting Room is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. The housing category winners are Willow House by AQA Alessandro Cordelli Architetto. In this project, bold forms have been layered on a steep, rocky site to make the most of views, sun, and opportunities for natural ventilation. The upper form floats over a schist base, and overhangs manage summer and winter sun. Inside, the client's requirements have been fully considered. The architect's focus on sustainability and thermal comfort mean the home's delighted owners are promised a happy future overlooking Lake Wakatipu. Bendemeer House by Assembly Architects. Surface and structure combine in this home that features a simple and minimal design that celebrates the natural characteristics of the building's materials. The house sits lightly on the land, with the living area stepping down in response to the rolling topography. This is a carefully considered project that not only provides impressive thermal performance, but communicates through its texture and materiality an inviting warmth. Scott House, Mount Barker by Assembly Architects. To the distant observer, this house seems an unassuming structure backed against a vast hillside, yet the simplicity of the form belies a complex and sophisticated interplay between materials, mass, and void. This house has an elemental clarity. Its spatial fluidity and pared-back detailing exploit the inherent advantages of its materials, unadorned rammed earth, timber, and concrete, in its specific context. Scott House Mount Barker is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. Ruby Ridge House by Condon Scott Architects. This house is an expertly crafted work that stands out as something very special. The disciplined use of materials enhances the curves of the built form, and the treatment of detailing is masterful. This is a dramatic example of architecture responding in a striking sculptural form to the challenges of an awe-inspiring natural environment. Cliff House by Mason & Wales Architects. The architect's interpretation of the brief has resulted in enjoyable spaces that can be opened up or closed down, and flexibility that means the spaces can have quite different personalities depending on the time of the day or the inclination of the client. Throughout the house, black and natural cedar offset each other, and along with the featured metalwork, complement the building's simple form. The house has an unassuming presence, and the integrity of the design intention is evident in the care taken to minimize the impact on the surrounding environment. Wanaka Crib by Pack Studio. In this project, classic formal and material motifs are combined with subtle variants in the crafting and detailing of traditional materials. An adept and sympathetic deployment of form, orientation, and natural materials is achieved in a sophisticated yet joyous manner. This is vernacular architecture wrought fresh, with a keen eye and alert consciousness. There is certainly a lot to admire in this small courtyard dwelling. Wanaka Crib is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. Lakeview House by Parsonson Architects. Energetic, art-loving clients have inspired an outstanding work of architecture. This house is a journey that begins with an unassuming street frontage that belies the adventure to be found inside. The site has been divided masterfully into zones. Sun, ventilation, and privacy are handled with impressive competence, as are the important gallery areas. This is a delightful house. A visitor just won't want to leave. Lakeview House is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. Oliver's Ridge by Team Green Architects. Achieving comfortable luxury, this project demonstrates in an exemplary manner the realization of a sustainable design philosophy in a large-scale residential development. Care has been taken to specify materials that perform well environmentally and observe passive design principles. This house, one feels, is here to stay for many generations. Internally, the design sensibility is relaxed, favouring warmth and textural richness, an approach that fitted the client's brief for modern informality. Wanaka House by 360 Architecture. This house accommodates the needs of its inhabitants within a sophisticated and refined aesthetic. A taut, uncluttered treatment of rectilinear forms distinguishes the house in its suburban setting. The large expanse of glass that makes up the northern street-facing facade affords occupants a spectacular view without submitting them to public display. The design delightfully allows for both a sense of enclosure and curated view shafts. It is composed of peaceful, intimate spaces and nestles gently in the land. There is one award for housing, alterations and additions. Lake Hayes Cottage by Anna Marie Chin Architects. The additions to a 2-storey cottage nestled into large trees have been expertly handled to enhance the existing building and make the most of the site's natural advantages. The management of the proportional relationship between the two forms is masterful, as is the treatment of all of the project's elements. The cottage is both evocative of another time and ideal for contemporary occupation. Lake Hayes Cottage is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. The award for housing multi-unit goes to Arrowtown Houses by Hoffman's Architects. The Arrowtown Houses is a praiseworthy project, a spectacular yet modest intervention in the landscape. An anchor point in the design is the imaginative treatment of the rock wall, which is visible in its natural form in the carport and outdoor areas, and which is illuminated at night. The architects have expertly manipulated a series of small spaces, carefully handling daylight, detailing, and well-chosen materials. There are 3 interior architecture winners. Te Pakeke by Fearon Hay Architects. The brief was for a winter retreat interpreted in a modern way, and the project has certainly met that request. The architects were not afraid to be bold in both program and palette. The floor-to-roof perforated shutters with brass detailing are impressive in scale and fundamentally functional. They allow control over privacy and solar gain, transforming the feel of the rooms to meet the wishes of the occupants. Exquisite metalwork detailing, combined with warm timbers, contribute to the occupational experience of an undeniably special place. Te Pakeke is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. WorkSafe Office Fit Out by Parker Warburton Team Architects. The architects have responded energetically to a challenging technical brief within a heritage context. There has clearly been a dedicated commitment to understanding the limitations and opportunities posed by the original building. New work is beautifully integrated with the existing structure, and spatial, security and services requirements have been carefully accommodated. WorkSafe Office Fit Out is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. Dunbar Dental Fit Out by Parker Warburton Team Architects. This fit-out has been handled with a level of care consistent with the considered approach of client and architect. Small details make a welcome break from expectation and add up to a refreshing and mature workspace. With its restrained but not clinical palette, the office is now a model expression of a professional working environment, a dental practice with a difference. Small project architecture features 3 winners. Abodo Showcase Cadrona by Assembly Architects. Elegantly conceived and gorgeously crafted, this building showcasing the client's timber products exhibits a high level of care and attention to detail in all aspects of its construction and detailing. Enviable environmental, structural and thermal performance credentials complement the project's classic beauty. With this building, architecture is reduced to its purest essence to at once align with and transcend formal tradition. The Abodo Showcase is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. Arrowtown House by Hoffman Architects. Sited on a steep and marginal site, this house stands out in its street, giving a hint of the unique disposition of space within. The crinkled timber form alludes to the rock face, which may be glimpsed from most of the internal spaces, and the relationship to the street has been expertly managed. Space is well handled to maximise the house's size, and the living areas, lofts and 2 bathrooms, do not feel at all small. Longgrass House by Rafe McLean Architects. This project strikes a balance between affordability, sustainability, and livability. The design approach has been positively reductive, interrogating what is really needed in order to produce what is sufficient. It is clear that client and architect have become a complementary team, working together through design and construction. There is a sense of fun in this design which carries through from outside to inside. The house evokes a feeling of being on holiday all year round. Longgrass House is also the recipient of a Resine Colour Award. Lastly, there are 2 Enduring Architecture Awards to announce this evening. Enduring Architecture Awards are given to buildings that are at least 25 years old and which continue to function as high-quality works of architecture. The award goes to University of Otago Archway Lecture Theatres 1974 by McCoy and Wixon Architects. This 4-lecture theatre project by gold medalist architect Ted McCoy has endured for nearly half a century and still stands out as architecture that is different and special. The form's uniqueness and its sense of presence on the campus derive from the simple but effective 4-point cruciform layout of the theatres. The external expression of the tiered lecture theatres is such that the building seems to hover above the ground. Fluted concrete panels and external spiral stairs speak to a moment in our architectural history, but the building remains an accomplished work of significant merit. Mills Residence, 1973, by Mason and Wales Architects. Build something thoughtful and beautiful, and it will endure. In this project, raked mass concrete foundations support a clever floor plan that drapes the hillside and gives most rooms views to the spectacular lake and mountain views, while shaping a sheltered courtyard and a lagoon-style swimming pool. Half a century later, a site that once was bare has blended with the house. The architecture appears to have grown from the earth. The house wears its history and wears it well. Everywhere you turn there is a tale to tell. The house has been much loved by 3 generations. It is a testament to the passion and excellent working relationship of a client and an architect. Congratulations to all those involved in the projects that received Southern Architecture Awards. All winners will be acknowledged on the NZIA website and social media accounts and will be published through media outlets from tomorrow. If you are a winner, you will receive your certificate in the next few days. Please note that all award-winning projects will go forward for consideration in the 2020 New Zealand Architecture Awards, which will be judged and announced at the end of the year. Thank you again to the Southern Architecture Awards jury convened by Stacey Farrell. Thank you to the sponsor of the awards program, Resine Paints. And finally, thank you, wherever you are, for joining me in the celebration of the year's best architecture in the southern branch of Te Kāhui Whaihanga New Zealand Institute of Architects. Nō reira, e te tī, e te tā, tēnā koutou, a tēnā rā tātou katoa.